Hello, my name is Pat Makawad and I'm from Group 4. So, yung individualized educational plan namin is under emotional and behavioral disorders. So, let's go muna sa student profile. So, the name of the student is Emmanuel Reyes. He's in 4th grade, 11 years old. And then, yung IEP, effectivity ng IEP namin is July 2025 to March 2026. So, exactly one school year, one academic year. So, yung diagnosis sa disability or diagnosis niya is oppositional defiant disorder. So, ano nga ba yung oppositional defiant disorder or also called ODD? So, it is characterized by angry and irritable mood, meaning mabilis siyang magalit, mabilis siyang ma-annoy by things. And then, argumentative and defiant behavior. Argumentative siya, palagi siyang nakiki-argue with authority figures. Authority figures meaning yung mga teachers niya, parents niya, and defiant behavior meaning hindi siya sumusunod sa mga rules or mga instructions na sineset ng mga authority figures na to. Tapos, vindictive din siya toward authority figures. Vindictive meaning hurtful siya. May mga hurtful and vengeful behavior siya na pinapakita toward authority figures. And itong mga behavior ng mga ito is, it negatively impacts his academic performance, yung social relationships niya, and overall well-being niya. So, ano nga ba yung mga strengths ni Emmanuel? So, yung strengths niya is, he shows empathy towards peers during calm moments. Kapag calm siya, nag-show naman siya ng empathy. He expresses thoughts and emotions clearly when supported. Kapag may umaalalay sa kanya, na-express niya naman yung mga emotions niya and thoughts niya clearly. Responds well to visual behavioral systems and praise. Engages cooperatively when given structured choices. Participates in reflection after behavioral incidents. And he also uses self-regulation tools when prompted. So, let's move on to needs. Ano ba ang mga kailangan niya? So, he needs help in identifying and expressing his emotions. Yun nga, kailangan niya ng guidance. Requires tools and practice for self-regulation, benefits from consistent behavioral expectations. Also needs visual cues and preparations for transitions. Kasi mostly dun lumalabas yung symptoms ng ODD niya during transitions or big changes. Requires guided support in peer conflict resolution. Needs opportunities to reflect and rebuild and build accountability. Now, let's move on to present level of performance. So, under academic performance, yung math and science skills naman niya is tugma sa grade level niya. But, he still shows task refusal and avoidance, especially during writing and dun sa mga individual activities. Kasi, na-frustrate siya and na-pressure siya. And requires frequent prompting, visual aids, and behavioral sensitive strategies to help him maintain his focus and complete academic tasks. Next is yung behavioral performance niya naman is he often exhibits oppositional behavior such as defiance, non-compliance, and he often argues with adults, especially during transitions or redirection, transition from one task to another. And the next experiences 3 to 4 behavioral incidents per week involving verbal outbursts and emotional escalation. This behavioral incidents is often triggered by kapag nagkakaroon siya ng nag-change yung routine niya. Yun. But he'll respond well naman to structured ODD specific interventions such as behavioral charts, clear limits, and consistent positive reinforcement. Yun. Nagre-respond naman siya sa positive reinforcement. Next, dun naman sa social performance niya, he frequently misinterprets yung actions ng peers niya or tone as threatening or unfair. Kaya, which leads him to perform reactive behaviors such as arguing. Yun, nakikipag-argue siya, nag-withdraw siya, withdrawal, or verbal aggression. And he also demonstrates difficulty with cooperative activities, turn-taking, and conflict resolution. Mas lalo na kapag walang adult mediation and emotional support. But he is capable of positive interactions and showing empathy when emotionally regulated and supported through predictable and structured social settings. Kaya niya namang mag-show ng empathy and capable naman siyang makipag-interact with his peers in a positive way if yung emotions niya is regulated kapag calm siya. So, next, let's move on to annual goals and short-term objectives. So, under academic goals, yung annual goal naman ni Emmanuel is he has to increase his task engagement, ma-reduce yung avoidance behavior niya during academic tasks. And, yun. So, under yung short-term objectives niya naman under academic, completion of non-preferred tasks. Emmanuel will complete at least 75% of assigned non-preferred tasks like journaling, and this behavior must be observed in 4 out of 5 days over 3 consecutive school weeks. Next one is smooth transitions with visible schedule. With Emmanuel being given a visual schedule and 2-minute transition warning, he will transition from a preferred activity to non-preferred activity without verbal refusal or oppositional behavior, and this must be observed in 4 out of 5 opportunities across 3 school weeks. So, dapat during transitioning from one task to another, dapat malesen yung avoidance or refusal, oppositional behavior niya. So, next, help-seeking behavior. When feeling confused or frustrated during an independent sit work, Emmanuel must use a help signal to request assistance. And this must be observed in at least 3 out of 4 opportunities in a school week. So, dapat si Emmanuel during task, if nahihirapan talaga siya, he will proactively ask for help. Next one, under behavioral goals naman. So, yung annual goal natin is, Emmanuel has to demonstrate improved self-regulation by reducing oppositional behaviors such as arguing and non-compliance to no more than 1 to 2 incidents per week by the end of the school year, by using visual behavior supports and learned coping strategies during structured activities. So, kapag during na-frustrate siya or yung symptoms ng kanyang ODD is lumalabas, dapat at least more than 1 to 2 incidents per week is kaya niyang regulate. Yeah. Next one, yung short-term objectives under behavioral goals. Emotional identification. With Emmanuel given feeling short and adult support, he will identify and label his current emotional state at the start of each school day and after each behavioral incident. And dapat yung accuracy ng pag-identify niya sa feelings niya is at least 80% accurate over 2 consecutive school weeks. B is use of self-regulation strategy. Yun nga, if he feels upset or frustrated, he will at least use one appropriate self-regulation practice, like yung breathing exercise. And this must be observed in 4 out of 5 opportunities across 2 consecutive school weeks. Next is following adult directions. In structured classroom setting, Emmanuel must follow a single-step adult directive with no more than 1 verbal prompt. And this must be observed in 4 out of 5 instances over 3 consecutive school weeks. So kapag may nagbibigay yung teacher or adult ng instructions sa kanya, is parang one time pa lang is kaya niya nang masunod yung instruction. And next, sa special goals. So, annual goal, Emmanuel must improve his peer interaction skills by engaging in cooperative activities and resolving minor conflicts. So, by the end of the year, dapat nag-improve yung interaction skills niya and much cooperative na siya during group activities. So, short-term objectives nito is cooperative play by participation. So, dapat during group activities, nag-cooperate siya. Yun nga, nagbibigay siya ng ideas, sinishare niya yung ideas niya with the group, and then he also listens sa mga ideas ng group. And this must be observed in 3 out of 4 group sessions per week. Next is conflict management using verbal cues. So, when peer conflict arise, kapag magkakaroon ng peer conflict, dapat kaya niya nang i-resolve yun independently, and he can dapat kaya niya ding i-communicate clearly kung ano yung nararamdaman niya about that conflict. And this must be observed in 4 out of 5 incidents over a school month. Next is appropriate peer response. So during social interactions, yung mga Emmanuel must demonstrate at least 2 positive peer interaction action skills such as complimenting, asking to join, and resolving disagreements calmly. And this must be observed in 4 out of 5 weekly sessions. Now, let's move on to specialized instruction and support services. So, under the area of need ng behavior regulation, specialist instruction dito is implement a structured behavioral management plan with positive reinforcement techniques. And then, also conduct weekly check-ins with school counselor or psychologist for emotional regulation para ma-improve pa yung behavioral regulation, emotional regulation ni student. Under naman sa emotional regulation, use role-playing, modeling, and guided reflection activities to promote self-control para maipakita sa kanya kung paano ang how to practice self-control. Tapos, under support services niya is social emotional learning sessions na 2 times per week in a small group setting. Under naman social skills niya is teach peer interaction strategies using direct instructions and guided practice. And then, implement yung peer body system during group works or break times para mas lalo pa ma-develop yung social skills niya. Under naman sa classroom engagement, use frequent breaks, choice-making opportunities, and predictable routines para kasi mas nakaka-focus siya kapag may routine siya. And assign aid to provide the right direction and task prompts when needed. If the teacher is nakikita niya nawawalan na ng interest yung student dun sa activity, they should do redirection. Yan. And under naman sa area of need ng task completion, we should break assignments into smaller, manageable steps with clear expectations para hindi masyadong ma-overwhelm yung student. Kasi kapag binigay mo sa kanya yung complete na task, ma-overwhelm siya. So you have to cut it in small tasks. And every time na may ma-complete siya na small task is provide positive reinforcement. Simply by complimenting, parang saying good job if nakatapos siya ng small task. Yun. Use of visual schedules and timers to support focus and transitions. Under pa rin yun ng task completion. So, under the teacher support naman is provide training in de-escalation techniques and trauma-informed classroom practices. So, dapat ma-train yung mga teachers natin in de-escalation techniques and on how to properly support or how to properly handle students na may mga behavioral disorders. Ganito. And another is collaboration meetings with SPED coordinator every month to review progress. So, under naman sa family communication, dapat magkaroon ng weekly behavioral report and communication log with parents. Dapat ma-involve din ang parents sa pag-monitor sa student. And provide parent training, support on consistent behavior strategies used in school. Now, let's move on to accommodations and modifications para sa student na si Emmanuel with ODD. So, accommodations is sit Emmanuel close to the teacher's desk for quick support and fewer distractions. Para kapag kailangan niya ng help in a certain task or he's feeling overwhelmed in a certain task, mas madali siyang makaka-ask ng help sa teacher. Another one is post a daily visual schedule on Emmanuel's desk and review it with him each morning para alam niya na kung ano yung i-expect niya na gagawin that day. Allow Emmanuel to take 3-minute break in a calm down corner when agitated. If na-frustrate siya, ganun, or nagkakaroon na siya ng outburst, let's provide a corner, yung calm down corner, for him to calm down at least 3 minutes. 3-minute break. Another one is give step-by-step instructions one at a time, checking for understanding before moving on. So, when giving him instructions, check in from time to time if naiintindihan niya talaga. Provide Emmanuel with a stress ball or fidget tool to use quietly at his desk. Use a token chart, and Emmanuel earns a sticker for each class period he follows. He follows directions with a small reward after 5 stickers. Yun nga, ito, yung positive reinforcement, rewards. Let's move on to modifications naman. Shorten writing assignments from 1 page to half a page during high-stress periods. Break down complex assignments into smaller, manageable parts with clear, achievable steps to reduce frustration and task avoidance. Para hindi siya masyadong ma-overwhelm sa mga task. Sabi ko kanina, i-break down natin into smaller, manageable tasks. Offer alternative ways to demonstrate understanding such as oral presentation or visual projects while maintaining academic rigor. Ito naman is, if hindi niya kapag ilang beses mo ng verbally na binigay yung instructions or nag-explain sa kanya, and if hindi niya pa rin naintindihan, shift to visual projects. For example, i-drawing mo or isulat mo yung instruction para mas bilis niyang maintindihan. Yeah. Replace written quizzes with oral questions for reading or social studies assignments. Provide extra time to complete assignments and assessments when needed to reduce frustration. Kapag masyado siyang overwhelmed sa isang task, provide extra time para ma-complete niya yung isang task assignment. Adjust the quantity, not the quality of homework or classwork by focusing on key problems or concepts rather than completing every item, ensuring mastery without overwhelming Emmanuel. If for example, a 30-item quiz, if pwede mo naman siyang ma-shorten pa into 20 items or 15 items without destroying the quality, do that. Now, let's move on to assessment strategies naman. So, under academic assessment strategies, number 1, monitor yung kung nako-complete ba ni Emmanuel yung mga assigned task niya. And i-note din natin yung quantity and quality of work. And to track this, we should use a checklist. Yeah. Number 2, during individual tasks, observe and record if Emmanuel asked for help, and record din natin yung frequency. And if palagi ba siyang nag-ask for help or kung talaga nag-ask lang siya ng help if talagang nahihirapan siya sa isang task. Number 3, observe and record Emmanuel's level of engagement during academic activities, and inote din natin yung mga periods of inattention, disengagement, or disruptive behavior niya. Yan. Under naman sa behavioral assessment strategies, use a daily emotion chart where Emmanuel can identify and record his emotions during morning check-ins and after problem situations. And also provide a visual key of emotions to help him identify and express his emotions. Yung visual key of emotions is parang chart siya. It can be a chart na pinapakita doon yung, for example, yung isang chart is nakasulat doon is sad. Tapos yung may naka-drawing na emoji doon na sad para mas madalian siya ma-recognize yung emotions niya at that time. Number 2, observe instances where Emmanuel raises his hand or asks for help during individual tasks and record the frequency and effectiveness of the strategies in managing his behavior. And also record if he initiates these strategies independently or only when prompted. Yan. Number 3, use a teacher checklist to record Emmanuel's compliance with single-step directives during structured activities. And also list the types of directives he complies with most readily, and those that pose the greatest challenge, and identify any patterns or triggers associated with non-compliance. Observe din natin kung ano yung mga directives na nagko-comply siya kaagad, and ano yung mga types of directives na hindi niya pinapansin. Yan. Doon naman sa social assessment strategies, provide a clear guidance and practice in social skills, including active listening, taking turns, and resolving conflicts. Yun. Number 2, assimilate role-playing task in the classroom and observe Emmanuel's involvement. Tapos, i-record natin yung mga instances na sinishare niya yung insights niya, sinishare niya yung ideas niya, and also dun sa mga times na hindi siya nakiki-engage or hindi siya nagiging cooperative. Yun. Number 3, regularly acknowledge and praise Emmanuel's small accomplishments and positive social behavior. Yun nga, positive reinforcement. So, let's now move on to review and monitoring. So, how frequent dapat ba ang review? So, formal review meetings will be held every 3 months para makita kung ano yung progress ni Emmanuel, kung na-achieve niya ba yung mga annual goals niya and yung mga short-term objectives niya. And then, ongoing informal monitoring naman will occur daily through observations, checklists na gagawin ng teachers and support staff. Dito naman sa data collection, yung teachers and support staff will utilize specified assessment strategies, including checklists, behavioral logs, and anecdotal records to gather data sa academic engagement, behavior, and social interactions ni Emmanuel throughout the school year. And magagamit din yung self-regulation tools na ginagamit ni Emmanuel. Response to visual sports and participation in social activities will be documented naman regularly, and magagamit din yung data na makokollect doon. And then, another one is parents will be encouraged to share observations and progress reports from home to provide a comprehensive view of Emmanuel's development. So, may involvement din ng parents sa data collection. Sa review process naman, after from all the data collected naman, yung ma-analyze naman siya. Data collected will be analyzed to determine if na-meet ba ni Emmanuel yung na-achieve ba ni Emmanuel yung annual goals niya in short-term objectives niya. And yung process nito is the IEP team will review progress reports, discuss challenges, and identify successes during each scheduled meeting. So, i-identify nila yung mga strategies na nag-work, and then yung mga hindi din nag-work. So, from that step, adjustments will be made as needed to better support Emmanuel's learning and emotional well-being. So, titingnan nila yung mga nag-work na strategies, and then gagawin nila yun, tutuloy nilang gagawin yun. And yung mga hindi naman nag-work is hindi na nila gagawin. And then they will look for other strategies pa na pwede pang magamit. Stakeholder involvement naman. Emmanuel's teacher, support staffs, parents, and specialists will collaborate to the review process. So yeah, the team will ensure that interventions remain individualized and responsive to Emmanuel's evolving needs. So i-make sure nila ng lahat ng mga strategies and interventions na ginagamit nila is caters yung mga needs ni Emmanuel. So, sa documentation naman, under documentation, all review meetings, decisions, and adjustments will be documented in written reports maintained in Emmanuel's special education file. And progress will be communicated to parents regularly through meetings, phone calls, or written reports to promote consistency and support across home and school environments. So, regularly na may inform yung parents ni Emmanuel kung ano ng progress niya. So, that's the end of our report on our IEP. So, thank you for watching.